What's up there, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. I want to talk about Joann. As a lot of people have heard by now, Joann, the craft and fabric store national chain, is going out of business and they're closing all of their stores. And right now they have a liquidation sale going on. I've been to my local Joann a couple of times just to see the progress that the store is making in terms of selling off everything in there, seeing what the discounts are. Right now, the fabric is around 40 to 50% for most of the fabric. A lot of the sewing notions and things like zippers, thread, and other sewing notions are pretty much gone. Not a lot of selection, but there still is a lot of fabric left. So in thinking about that, thinking about how, Joann was the local option for a lot of people, including myself. If you needed something quick, you didn't want to go online, you knew they would probably have something that you could use. And thinking about where I would shop now, I wanted to share with you some of my thoughts on where I plan to get patterns, notions, and fabric from now that Joann is going out of business. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is patterns. Patterns was initially the main reason I would go to Joann. I would go to Joann during their weekly pattern sales, the now gone $1.99 pattern sale for patterns like Simplicity, Butterick, McCall's, and Know Me patterns. So now that those pattern sales will probably be gone, I am going to rely on the patterns that I have thus far. I've got plenty of patterns of which I have yet to try. So I don't need any patterns right now, especially since I'm mostly sewing for fun and not necessarily for a specific purpose. So going to rely on the patterns that I've gotten from Joann, as well as the big new look haul I got last year at Hobby Lobby when they were 99 cents, as well as patterns that I've gotten at fabric swaps events, as well as thrift stores. So plenty of patterns to rely on. Also, I have a large folder of free downloadable PDF patterns that I've been downloading. I am obsessed with free patterns for the simple fact that they are free and some of them are really nice. So I have plenty of free PDF patterns that I've collected over the last few months that I can also rely on. If I want to get a new pattern, I will look at independent pattern makers that sell their patterns online, which I can see on Instagram or YouTube people have made. So if I see something that someone else has made that's really cute, I will look at those and see if that's something I want to download. Also, simplicity.com does sell those big 5, big 4, big 5 patterns, either in PDF form or print form. So I've purchased PDF patterns from them before. I haven't printed out or made any of them yet. So I have those patterns as well to do. But if I'm really interested in one of those patterns, I can go to the website and buy from there. Let's talk about sewing notions. Things like thread, zippers, buttons, fasteners, and other sewing tools you might need, like sewing feed or sewing apparatus. I will most likely look to local fabric shops that I have in my area. I currently am in the Metropolitan District of Columbia area, so there are a few local fabric shops that do carry sewing notions, namely G Street Fabrics, that's in Maryland, and then there's a place called Fabric Place Basement, I think, in Virginia. And so those are some local places that if I wanted to get something in person quickly, I could go there and see if they have it. Otherwise, Wawak is another online platform that sells sewing notions and sewing tools. That would be another option. The only problem I find with shopping online, especially for little things like zippers or thread, is you have to meet a minimum shipping cost to get the free shipping. So if you wanted a couple zippers, it wouldn't make sense to purchase $2 zippers and then pay $7 in shipping. So that's where having a local option is more preferable for things like that, where if you just need a couple things, having a local option is better. But if I wanted to save all of my notions or like buy all of my notions at once, if I knew what projects that are coming up, I can save all of those and buy them at once from Wawak, or even eBay also is a good resource for sewing tools, sewing notions. Finally, let's talk about fabric. Where are we going to get our fabric? Well, I did not ever rely on Joann for fabric. I would go and look at the fabric, but I found the shopping experience wasn't that great for fabric. And being that I rarely have anything in mind when I do go fabric shopping, it's kind of hard to make a decision with all those choices and options. So I rarely bought fabric from Joann. Most of my fabric is who knows? Most of my fabric has come from other sources, mainly fabric when I travel. So now when I travel, I like to check out this local fabric scene. Even within the States, when I travel, I like to see if there's a thrift fabric store, a store that sells dead stock or overstock or donated fabrics. Those are my favorites. Otherwise, discount fabric stores or even just regular popular local fabric stores, I'll go there, see what they have, usually check out the clearance fabrics first and see what tickles my fancy. So fabric when I travel is where I get most of my fabric. Another source of fabric for me are thrift stores, looking at thrifted items, clothing, as well as thrifted materials, going there just to see what they have, and as well as the local fabric options that I have in my area. Luckily, we do have a couple of local fabric options, as well as a creative reuse center that is in Baltimore called Scrap Be More. They sell donated items, craft and art items, as well as donated fabric. So they have a really nice selection there. If you're looking for something in general, I would check them out as well. And then finally, fabric swaps are another place that I've found success in finding really nice fabric. So fabric swaps are when sewists and crafters come together, bring the fabrics that they don't necessarily want or need, and they swap them out for free. So that's another area or another place in which I've been able to find and obtain some fabric. So right now I'm not really in any need for a lot of fabric. Just like with the pattern situation, I have plenty of patterns and I have plenty of fabrics. So what I plan to do is match my fabrics with my patterns that I have and move from there. Now, when I begin to become in need of more fabric because there are things I want to make in the future, I will hit up those places that I mentioned before. Online options, I'll definitely have to review and see what is available. If there's something very specific that I want and I'm unable to find it in the local stores, then I'll check out some online options. I don't have a favorite because I have not bought any fabrics online before, so I don't know which ones I would gravitate towards right now. So that will be in the future. But those are my plans for now that Joann is closing down. Let me know in the comments, what are your plans? What do you foresee being a difficulty for you as a sewist now that all the locations are closing? And where would you suggest other sewists look for their patterns, sewing notions, and fabric now? Thanks for watching.